Hey guys, Mosa here, and today I'm bringing you my divisional round matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Now, kicking it off with the injury report of the Kansas City Chiefs, we got wide receiver Mecole Hardman with a knee injury. He is out for the game, and cornerback Jalen Watson with an ankle injury. He is questionable for the game. Then moving on to defensive back Jamari Connors with a shoulder injury, tackle DJ Humphries with a hamstring injury, quarterback Patrick Mahomes with an ankle injury, cornerback Trent McDuffie with a knee injury, running back Isaiah Pacheco with a rib injury, wide receiver Nico Remigio with a wrist injury, cornerback Carson Steele with a hip injury, tackle Jawan Taylor with a knee injury, and defensive tackle Chris Jones with a calf injury. Now, when it comes down to it, I honestly think defense will suffer a little bit more. They've got, honestly, it's going to be 50-50. But I feel like they have out of the worst of the injuries. Yes, the offensive line is not really as good as they should be, but I still think it's going to be okay. And Mecole Hardman being out, that's a big hit on the return team, not on the receiving core. I think that is pretty much covered. But regardless, the cornerback Watson, if he's out, which I don't think he will be, that's going to hinder the secondary specifically. And honestly, the secondary is the one that's going to suffer more, and let alone the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs. So yeah, I'm saying the defense will suffer more. Now, moving on to the offense of the Kansas City Chiefs, starting out with quarterback Patrick Mahomes, running back Isaiah Pacheco, wide receivers Xavier Worthy, DeAndre Hopkins, and Hollywood Brown. Tight end, we got Travis Kelce. Left tackle, Joe Thuney. Left guard, Mike Caliendo. Center will be Creed Humphrey, right guard Trey Smith, and right tackle Jawan Taylor. Now, this offensive line is going to do a pretty decent job. I honestly think that they're going to let up a few sacks on Mahomes. But if Mahomes is able to get out passes to Xavier Worthy and Hopkins, maybe a few to Brown, I think that it's going to be okay. Maybe the big issue will be the run game. Will this offensive line be able to open up the holes for Isaiah Pacheco and any other running back on that roster? I think that it's a maybe, but honestly, I think that it's more or less going to be a passing game than a run game. I think that they're going to be passing a lot more with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, or Xavier Worthy, something like that. But in the end, it's really going to come down to who on the defense can really pressure Patrick Mahomes, while Mahomes, how is he going to find open receivers such as Xavier Worthy and DeAndre Hopkins? Now, on to the defense. We got defensive ends George Karlaftis and Mike Dana, defensive tackles Tershawn Wharton and Chris Jones, weak side linebacker Drew Tranquill, inside linebacker Nick Bolton, and Leo Chenal at strong side linebacker. Cornerbacks will be Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson if Watson cannot go. Joshua Williams will take over. Jamari Connor will be the nickelback with free safety Brian Cook and strong safety / kicker Justin Reed. Now, when it comes down to this defense, George Karlaftis and Mike Dana are going to have a game getting to CJ Stroud. Chris Jones pressuring their center and guards. Honestly, that's all day long. Then you get Nick Bolton, Leo Chenal, or Drew Tranquill. One of them, potentially all game long, will be blitzing most of the time, maybe 70 to 80% of the time, while the rest of them will be mixed of 50 to 25% of the time while going back into coverage. All of them are pretty good in the pass game as well. Then you get Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson going up against their top receivers, and obviously the safeties are pretty good. So secondary, honestly, the weak link is Jalen Watson, and that's due to injury. Maybe Jamari Connor as well. But still, I think that the Kansas City Chiefs will do a decent job on defense, but a little bit hindered in the secondary. Now, moving on to the Texans injury report, we got linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair with a knee injury, wide receiver Robert Woods with a hip injury, tight end Tegan Pitoriano, I don't know if that's how you say it, but he has a calf injury, and running back Joe Mixon with an ankle injury. All questionable for this game. Then moving on to guard Jack Mason with a knee injury, offensive lineman Juice Scruggs with an ankle injury, defensive tackle Danico Autry with a knee injury, Tight end Dalton Schultz with a shoulder injury. Defensive end Will Anderson Jr. with a hand and elbow injury. And guard Nick Broeker. I don't know if that's how you say it, but okay. He has a hand injury. Now, when it comes down to it, obviously the offense is heavily hindered. It's pretty tough to say with him, but I definitely 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, Robert Woods will miss this game, and everyone else will play. But still, Joe Mixon and Robert Woods, two big parts of this Texans defense. Obviously, you got Nico Collins and John Mechie and even Xavier Hutchinson still, but still, you're going up against a secondary. Even though they're hindered, they're pretty good. So that's going to be a problem. AZ, honestly, he's been a headache for the Texans after that unsportsmanlike conduct thing he did. I don't remember what it was. I think he hit a player or something. Honestly, he is, obviously his character is one thing. His play on the field is another. But even so, I think the knee injury will hinder him in this game, regardless. But hopefully for the Texans, that it is not hindering for him and that he'll have a very good game and a potential win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, moving on to the offense of the Texans, we got quarterback CJ Stroud, running back Joe Mixon, and if he cannot go, Dameon Pierce will take over. Fullback Andrew Beck, wide receivers Nico Collins, John Mechie III, and Robert Woods. If Woods cannot go, Xavier Hutchinson will take over. Tight end will be Dalton Schultz, left tackle Laramie Tunzel, Titus Howard at left guard, center Garrett Patterson, Shaq Mason will be the right guard, and Blake Fisher the right tackle. Now, when it comes down to this offensive line, it's going to be a little bit of a headache, specifically with the defensive ends such as, obviously, George Karlaftis and Mike Dana, but that interior offensive line is going to have issues with Chris Jones specifically, so that's going to be an issue. Other than that, you got some pretty good receivers in Collins, Mechie, and Hutchinson, maybe Woods, and Dalton Schultz, a pretty decent tight end, a very decent running back in Joe Mixon, and Dameon Pierce, he could take some reps in this game and have a good game. And obviously CJ Stroud, the main guy, who has not been the main guy this season like he was last year. I think that it's going to be, again, not a very good game for CJ Stroud over the Kansas City Chiefs. And most likely that he might have a pick or two in this game and potentially even cost his team the win over KC. Now, moving on to the defense of the Houston Texans, we got defensive ends Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter. Defensive tackles Tim Settle and Folo Patukasi, with weak side linebacker Aziel Sharari. If he cannot go, Devin White will take over. Henry To'oto'u, I don't know if that's how you say it, but he'll be the inside linebacker. Strong side linebacker will be Christian Harris. Cornerback will be Derek Stingley Jr., Jeff Okuda. Kamir Lassiter will be the nickelback. Eric Murray, the free safety. And Kalen Bullock, the strong safety. Now, when it comes down to this defense, Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter have to be on Patrick Mahomes all day long. And Settle and Folo have to get pressure onto those holes in the inside. So that make sure that Isaiah Pacheco and every single running back does not make it through the hole. Then weak side linebacker, White or AZ, doesn't matter. They got to get it off the edge or hook zone. That's what they got. Maybe even go to the flat, something like that, for him all day long. To IZ, I say blitz. For White, I say drop back. And Henry, same thing. But Christian Harris, put him on the strong side and blitz him all day long. That's what they should do. And then we get corner, Derek Stingley Jr., Jeff Okuda, okay. Derek Stingley, he has been a dominant corner in the league, not the greatest corner of the league, but still, he has been good enough, and I think he'll be good enough, not against someone like D-Hop, but maybe someone against, maybe the rookie, Xavier Worthy, but still, we're going to be seeing how they can do. Lassiter, pretty decent, and that's a pretty decent secondary with the safeties as well, so I'm going to say this. KC has a lot of opportunities in this game, but to be honest, this is not a game that KC is most likely to lose. So this defense is probably not going to be worth much against the KC offense. Now, in conclusion, I have this game going in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs, 24-23. It's going to be a blocked field goal. I think that a blocked field goal by the Houston Texans will in fact seal the game for Kansas City. And obviously, the Texans will be humiliated just like Denver was that one time that they got their blocked kick when they were about to win the game against KC. But still, I see this game mostly as Kansas City definitely advancing. There is no way Houston is going to win, but they'll keep it close. The game that really matters in the AFC right now would be Baltimore versus Buffalo. KC versus Houston, we all know who's going to win no matter what happens. And honestly, I'm going to say that's KC. Now, that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. And before I get to the tweeting part, I do not have a Twitter anymore. When it comes to this day will be the last day of my Twitter accounts of all my YouTube channels. One of them got hacked and I have not been able to get back into it. So from this point on, do not tweet me your video ideas. Instead, comment it down on my Instagram. Instead, MosaFoot, MosaSports, MosaGamer, or MosaHawks. Either one, doesn't matter. I will read it and I will take it into consideration for a new video in the near future. Now, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.